good morning, or good afternoon. Hello, wherever you are, whatever time it is. I have a video that I want to, a message that I want to create today. And it was inspired from something that I watched a couple of days ago. That was a politician speaking about our need to say no and to feel into the energy of no. As it's something that I notice a lot of people really struggle with. And I wanted to talk to that a little bit to see if I can shine some light, as I do when I work with my clients here, on finding boundaries, on asserting boundaries, on an ability to be able to assert your no. You have a right to say no. You also have a right to say yes. And that requires sometimes discernment in terms of, what do I actually feel about this? Do I want to say no? Do I want to say yes? Does this inspire me? Does this expand me? Does this make me feel good? Or am I just going along with something that I know is not in my highest interests and in my highest good? So I just wanted us to take a moment to look into and to feel into, because that's really where the information comes, is from the feeling state on the inside. So to give oneself permission to drop into the feeling that tells you, your body will tell you, does this feel good? Do I want to go in this direction? Or do I want to go in this direction? And it's a no from me. So when we feel into, when we don't want to say yes to something, there's either a feeling of dread, there's a feeling of, I don't really want to do this, but I should. We make excuses for ourselves, like, well, it will only be for a few hours, or if I do this, then this will happen and it will be okay. So we can justify our choices and our reasons rather than listening to that intrinsic sense of it's a no. And what we're doing when we're making excuses for, or we're justifying our choices, is we're dishonoring. We're dishonoring the part of ourselves that is in knowing and is in truth. And so when we have these major decisions to make, our life choices to make, and it feels wrong, it doesn't feel like it's for our highest good, I just invite you to feel into that, to look into that, and to allow yourself to find your no. This takes me out of my center. It may take you, sometimes yeses take us out of our comfort zone, and that's different because we are in expansion and we're perhaps facing our fears, moving through our fears, moving through our limitations. And that can feel a whole new challenge in itself, but it doesn't always feel contracting. It feels more like a challenge, something that you want to move through, something that you know you have to move through because it's for your highest good. So, and sometimes that takes courage, but the layer, the fine tuning in all of this is this dance between fear and contraction and love and expansion. Which requires us to shed these layers of fear, but also the programs that say you need to do as you're told. You won't get what you want if you don't do as you're told. You know, we've come into a whole culture of reward and punishment. So, you know, if you don't eat your dinner, you're not going to get your treat. On the most simplistic level. But we teach and we train our children through this reward and punishment system. And we're very used to looking at what the rewards will be. You know, a few years ago, we had the, take your jab or you won't get to travel. And so we kind of, suffer up, eat our vegetables or whatever we need to do to get the short-term treat. Whether, the treat is good for us or not, whether it's immediate gratification and it's done and then you're left with this decision. And so, if we bring it back to center, because this is coming in poignantly at this time, we're in this pause. Okay, so I'm just going to sidestep, but it's relevant. We're in this pause, in this equinox moment now. So it's the changing of the seasons. And in this pause, what happens with autumn, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we get the falling of the leaves. We get the death cycle, the falling away. The apples have fallen from the trees. They're going back to compost. They're going back into the earth. So there's this beautiful abundance that's come from the earth, and it's falling, it's decaying, things are falling away. And we move through this cycle every single year. It is the time where we feel the cold, we feel the turning, we get that sense of going inward. There is a disconnection from the outer, the fire energy of summer, where we're out and we're expressing ourselves. And we move more inward into this sense of coziness and sense of nurturing, sense of nourishing. So typically, we start to look after the food that's been harvested, and we start getting into preservation mode through the winter. But the winter is a really beautiful time where these new seeds of imagination and creativity get to birth, because we're inward, because we're in our own space, because we're feeling and sensing into what is it that I want, what is it that I need. So it can be a beautiful process of self-honoring. So it's also a time where people are a little bit more disconnected from each other and the outer, which can be difficult for some because it can move into periods of isolation. We don't feel like going out, or the weather's not great. There's not so many social kind of gatherings perhaps happening. So we may need to nurture, we may need to create those opportunities for connection, because this is important, especially at this time, and where we have control structures that want to keep us in separation. And that's very prevalent. I don't make any apologies for stating that it's there. We are moving into an attempt at control. It's up to us then to say no, to find our no. And this is significant and it's important at this period of time, because there is an opportunity for major light transformations through this next 6 months. And it's an opportunity for us to stay together in coherence and in love. But it also requires each of us as individuals. We can find strength in the collective energy and frequency of those that are awakened, those that are seeing the control system, those that are rising in love and wanting to create from a space of love and build a new reality based on love, on compassion, on fairness, on honoring our rights as human beings, as sentient beings. To have free will and choice, and to exercise our free will and choice, and to have free speech and free expression. These are all essential to have free thinking, free thoughts, to not be told what is and what we need to do for the greater good. So there is a rising and awakening, and I'm here bringing this video forward to encourage you to be able to feel into, on a micro level, on the macro level, what's important for me. We've got so many planets have been and are still retrograde. So we're in this big cycle of reflection. What relationships are serving me? What relationships give me energy? Where can I be myself? Where am I seen for who I am? Where am I accepted and loved for who I am? What spaces feel good for me to be in? What spaces don't feel good for me to be in? What spaces do I shield myself or wrap myself up and protect myself from the outer because the outer doesn't feel good? So if that's your experience, then you have a free will and a choice and an ability to change that. And it requires courage, and it requires empowerment, and it requires the finding of you saying yes to what you want. And you need to say yes. You need to be a creator and create it and put your energy in that direction, and to say no to what you don't want. Not in my reality, not what I choose. I'm not going to create that. We've all been manipulated and hijacked through media to create a reality that it doesn't serve us, is not in our highest good, is fear-based, is control-based. and maintains separation, maintains division of groups, division of ideas. There's a lot of infiltration that comes through that keeps us happy little worker bees, right? And is it for my highest good? If you can ask that question, is this for my highest good? Is this what I want? Is this what I choose for myself? It's going to go a long way to shifting and changing your reality. Because if you put yourself in the center of your reality, in the center of your universe, and that's okay, to self-honor, because your soul is here for you. You're here as part of the collective, as part of the one. We are all interconnected. We can't be separate as much as we're told we are. And sometimes we feel that pain of separation. Beyond the separation, in a high frequency, we're all one. We're all playing our parts and our roles. But you, as an individual, have a choice. And that choice requires you to rise up in your center, to be in the center of your universe, and to make choices for yourself, informed choices, and not from a fear-based, childhood perspective of I can't get what I want, it doesn't work for me. Global statements, things never work out for me, the world's going to pot, just, all of these stories that are programs that are pushed upon us. So if we don't focus on that and we stop, clear, cancel, delete those thoughts that exacerbate and put energy into someone else's creation, then we can draw our energy back and we can be more energized to create what we do want. A different kind of reality whereby we have a choice, we have freedom of thought. I say what I want to say, I will speak, I will have a voice and I will speak, and I will be heard if people want to listen. That's great, and we all have that ability to have a voice, to speak. We all have an ability to say, no, it's not for my highest good. No, thank you. That's not for me. I don't choose that for myself. I do choose. Yes, I do choose more freedom, more love. I choose to be compassionate. I don't choose to bitch. I don't choose to judge. I don't choose to moan. I choose to create what I want. I choose to take steps to make me feel better. I choose to do things that raise my frequency of vibration. I choose to notice the beauty in and around me. I connect with nature. I choose to open to the beautiful frequencies that's here for me, supporting me into my growth and into my highest evolution. So we always have a choice, even though it may feel like we don't, or we're told that we don't. We always have a choice when we're in the center of our universe and we're not pushed and pulled, living from oughts and shoulds and beliefs and stories around good behavior. And feeding into what's right for us as individuals. And then if everybody did that, if everybody was in a space of self-love and compassion and self-honoring, just imagine how awesome the world would be. So it's okay to find your no, and it's okay to choose and find your yes. And on that note, I will love you and leave you. Make empowered choices for yourself. It's going to be really important as we move into this next cycle. And it's okay to say no. It really is okay to say no. From a non-fear-based perspective, no energy in it, just no. It's just as much right to say no as you do to say yes. And you practice it. Like, I will ask my clients to practice it in the mirror. And sometimes we practice together. I hold a yes and they hold a no. Hold a yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And just let them be equal. Yes, no. You can say yes or you can say no. It's okay. Well, love and blessings. And for those of you that want to join my meditations and drop into the Christ light with me and help us co-create the new, choose from a space of love and possibility and expansion, just £8 a month, and it's once a week, and you get the recordings if you can't make it live on a Monday or a Tuesday, alternate weeks. All right, lots of love for now. Take care.